Captain Lee Jiwan stood on the bridge of the research ship Determination and stared at the strange readings on her screen. For 3 days they had been traveling through the Veil Nebula, following energy signals that made no sense. The instruments kept showing impossible numbers. Energy levels that should not exist. Patterns that defied everything humans knew about space. "Captain, we are getting closer to the source," said Dr. Park Min-ho from his science station. The physicist wiped sweat from his forehead as he worked. "But these readings are completely wrong. According to our equipment, there is an object out there that contains more energy than a small star." Engineer Kim Sora looked up from her control panel. "The ship's systems are acting strange too. Power flows are changing on their own. It's like something is pulling at our energy cores." Commander Choi Do-yun, the military officer assigned to their mission, checked his weapons display. "Should we be worried? If there is something dangerous out there, we need to know now." Captain Lee had been exploring space for 15 years. She had seen gas giants, dead stars, and alien ruins, but nothing had ever made her feel like this. There was something ahead of them that felt different, important, like it was waiting for them. "Take us closer," she ordered, "but keep all shields up and weapons ready." The Determination moved forward through the colorful clouds of the nebula. Strange lights danced around the ship as they traveled deeper into the unknown region. The crew watched their instruments with growing amazement. Every scan showed the same impossible thing. An object that should not exist was floating in empty space ahead of them. When they finally saw it, everyone on the bridge went silent. The object was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It looked like a giant crystal, but it was made of materials that their computers could not identify. The crystal was as big as a city and shaped like a perfect diamond. It glowed with soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Around it, space itself seemed to bend and twist in ways that hurt to look at. "By all the stars," whispered Dr. Park. "What is that thing?" Captain Lee felt her heart beating faster. "Run every scan we have. I want to know everything about that object." For the next 2 hours, the crew worked to understand what they had found. Dr. Park ran physics tests that showed the crystal was older than their solar system. Commander Choi checked for weapons or defenses but found nothing dangerous. Engineer Kim studied the energy patterns and discovered that the object was somehow connected to the fabric of space itself. "Captain," said Dr. Park, his voice shaking with excitement, "I think this is some kind of ancient technology, but it's not like anything any known species has ever built. The energy patterns are completely unique." "Could it be dangerous?" asked Captain Lee. "I don't think so. It's not giving off harmful radiation, but it is definitely reacting to our presence." The energy output increased when we arrived. Engineer Kim stood up from her station. "Captain, I need to get closer to study the power systems. If we could understand how this thing works, it might change everything we know about energy and space travel." Captain Lee nodded. "Take a shuttle and get close enough for detailed scans, but don't touch anything without permission." Kim took the small shuttle and flew toward the crystal object. As she got closer, something strange began to happen. The crystal's glow grew brighter. The patterns of light inside it began to change and move faster. It was almost like the object was becoming excited. "Kim, are you seeing this?" Captain Lee's voice came through the radio. "Yes, Captain. The object is definitely responding to me. Wait, I'm getting some kind of feedback through my instruments." Kim looked at her control panel and saw something impossible. The shuttle systems were changing. New displays were appearing that showed information she had never seen before. Energy flows that made no sense. Patterns that seemed to map the space around them in ways their technology could not do. "Captain, something is happening to my shuttle. The systems are being modified somehow." Before Captain Lee could respond, a power surge hit Kim's shuttle. Electricity flowed through every system, and Kim felt it flow through her body too. But instead of pain, she felt something wonderful. Suddenly, she could see and understand things that had been invisible before. She could see the energy that held atoms together. She could feel the invisible forces that moved through space. Most amazing of all, she discovered that she could touch these forces with her mind. "Kim. Kim, respond! What is happening?" Captain Lee's voice sounded far away. Kim looked at her shuttle's damaged systems. A critical power coupling had been destroyed by the surge. In normal space, this would mean death. The shuttle would lose life support and she would have only minutes to live. But Kim found that she could fix it. Not with tools or replacement parts, but with her mind. She reached out with her thoughts and touched the broken coupling. She could see exactly what was wrong and exactly how to fix it. Slowly, carefully, she began to change the damaged metal at the smallest level. Atom by atom, she rebuilt the coupling until it was perfect again. "Kim, please respond." "I'm here, Captain," Kim said, her voice filled with wonder. "And I think I just discovered something that will change the human race forever." The shuttle systems were now working perfectly. Better than perfectly. Kim had not just fixed the damage. She had improved the entire power system by understanding how energy really worked. "Captain, I need to return to the ship immediately. We need to contact Earth. What I just experienced, what I can do now." It's not possible according to everything we know about science. As Kim flew back to the determination, the crystal object pulsed one more time, and then went dark. But something had changed forever. A human had touched the fundamental forces of reality and learned to control them. Captain Lee watched Kim's shuttle dock with their ship and felt that their lives had just taken a turn toward something unimaginable. In a galaxy where humans were considered a young and weak species, they had just discovered a power that no other race had ever achieved. The discovery would change everything. For humanity, for the galaxy, for the very nature of what was possible in the universe. When Kim stepped off the shuttle, she was smiling, but her eyes held a light that had not been there before. She had touched something beyond normal understanding, and somehow Captain Lee knew that Kim was not the only human who would discover this amazing ability. The crystal had awakened something in the human mind. Something that had been sleeping for thousands of years, something that would make the galaxy tremble. The message from the determination reached Earth 3 days later. President Yoon Hyun sat in her office reading the report for the 5th time. Each time it seemed more impossible than before. A human had somehow changed matter with her mind, fixed broken technology by thinking about it. The attached video files showed engineer Kim Sora doing things that broke every law of physics. "This cannot be real," said Admiral Song Kyung-ho, the head of Earth's Space Defense Force. "People cannot change reality with their thoughts." Dr. Lim Yuna, Earth's best expert on alien psychology, studied the data on her tablet. "The measurements are clear. The energy readings are genuine. Something happened out there that we do not understand." President Yoon stood up and walked to her window. She could see the lights of the space elevators reaching up toward the orbital stations. For 90 years, humans had been part of the Galactic Confederation. They traded with dozens of alien species. They learned from civilizations millions of years older than their own. But humans had always been the youngest species. The weakest. Other races were stronger, smarter, or more advanced. Humans survived by being useful and staying out of the way of more powerful civilizations. "If this report is true," President Yoon said slowly, "everything changes." Her communication device rang. The caller was Ambassador Kang Jin-soo, Earth's representative at the Confederation headquarters. "President Yoon, we have a problem. Word about the discovery has somehow reached the Confederation. Every major species is demanding information about what Captain Lee's crew found. How did they learn about it?" "Unknown, but the Altarian Republic is asking for immediate access to the artifact. The Hegemony Alliance wants to inspect any humans who showed unusual abilities, and the Trade Federation is offering massive payments for exclusive rights to study the technology." President Yoon felt cold fear in her stomach. When alien species showed this much interest in something, it usually meant trouble for humans. "Tell them we are still studying the discovery ourselves. We will share information when we understand what happened." They are not accepting that answer. The hegemony representative said that any technology that could affect reality itself is too dangerous to leave in the hands of a single species. After ending the call, President Yoon turned to her advisors. "How quickly can we get our ships back to Earth space?" Admiral Song checked his displays. "Most of our exploration fleet could be home within 2 weeks, but that would leave our colonies undefended." "Do it. Something tells me we are going to need every ship we have." Meanwhile, back on the determination, more crew members were discovering strange new abilities. Dr. Park Min-ho found that he could sense the quantum structure of matter just by concentrating. Commander Choi Do-hyun discovered he could somehow make his thoughts move faster than normal, allowing him to process information like a computer. Captain Lee Ji-won watched her crew changing and felt both excitement and worry. "Kim, can you explain what is happening to us?" Engineer Kim Sora was studying readings from the crystal artifact, which they had carefully moved into their ship's cargo bay. I think the artifact does something to human brains. Our neural patterns are different from other species. We process emotion and logic at the same time in ways that aliens cannot do. But why only humans? I'm not sure, but I think our brains create some kind of resonance with the artifact's quantum field. When we get close to it, something wakes up in our minds. Dr. Park looked up from his instruments. I've been studying the energy patterns. The artifact seems to respond to human consciousness specifically. When I focus my thoughts on it, the energy output changes. Can you control it? Asked Captain Lee, to some degree. Watch this. Dr. Park concentrated on a small piece of metal on his desk. Slowly, the metal began to change shape. It stretched and twisted until it formed a perfect spiral. Everyone watched in amazement as the scientist reshaped matter with his mind. This should be impossible, whispered Commander Choi. A lot of impossible things are happening lately, said Kim. I think we need to understand the rules of these new abilities before we return to Earth. Over the next few days, the crew experimented carefully with their developing powers. They discovered that the abilities required intense focus and seemed to drain their energy. Kim could reshape matter, but only small amounts at a time. Dr. Park could sense quantum structures, but the effort gave him severe headaches. Commander Choi could accelerate his thinking, but only for short periods. Captain Lee found that she could somehow sense the flow of energy through space around them. It was like seeing a new color that had always been there but invisible. There are rules, Kim explained during one of their meetings. We cannot create energy from nothing. We cannot violate conservation of mass, but we can guide and reshape what already exists. It's like we have become interfaces between consciousness and reality, said Dr. Park. Our minds can touch the fundamental forces that hold the universe together. A week later, they received urgent orders to return to Earth immediately. The message came from Admiral Song himself, which meant the situation was serious. All human ships are being recalled, Captain Lee announced to her crew. Apparently, several alien species are demanding access to our discovery. As the Determination began its journey back to Earth, they received more disturbing news. 3 hegemony warships had been detected near human colony worlds. The Trade Federation had placed economic sanctions on human trading posts. Even friendly species like the Altarians were asking pointed questions about human intentions. They are afraid of us, realized Commander Choi during a senior staff meeting. For the first time in galactic history, humans have found something that other species cannot do. Fear makes people dangerous, said Captain Lee. We need to be very careful about how we handle this situation. Dr. Lim Yuna's research, transmitted from Earth, confirmed their suspicions. No known species had ever been able to interface with artifacts like the one they had found. For millions of years, advanced civilizations had discovered similar objects throughout the galaxy. All of them had remained completely inert, no matter what technology was used to activate them. Humans are the first species to make these artifacts respond, Dr. Lim's message explained. This suggests that there is something unique about human consciousness that other forms of intelligence lack. What does that mean for us? Kim asked. Captain Lee looked at the data streaming in from Earth. Alien fleets were moving toward human space. Diplomatic messages were becoming more demanding. Some species were hinting that they might need to take control of human space for the safety of the galaxy. It means we are no longer the weakest species in the Confederation, she said, and that terrifies everyone else. As Earth grew larger on their view screen, Captain Lee wondered if they were returning home to safety or to the beginning of a war. The power they had discovered could change everything. The question was whether humanity would be allowed to keep it. In the cargo bay, the crystal artifact pulsed with soft blue light, responding to the thoughts and emotions of the humans around it. Something ancient had awakened, something that had been waiting for the right kind of mind to unlock its secrets. Humanity had found the key to reality itself. Now they had to survive long enough to learn how to use it. The neutral space station Harmony Point floated in empty space between 3 star systems. It was built by the Galactic Confederation as a place where different species could meet safely. Today, representatives from 47 civilizations had gathered to witness something that had never happened before in galactic history. Ambassador Kang Jinsu stood in the main conference hall and felt nervous. Around him sat beings from across the galaxy. Some looked almost human. Others were so alien that looking at them hurt his eyes. All of them were here for the same reason. They wanted to see humans demonstrate their impossible new abilities. This is supposed to be a peaceful evaluation, Admiral Song had told him before the mission. But keep your guards ready. Some of these species have been asking very dangerous questions. The demonstration team consisted of 5 humans. Dr. Park Min-ho would show the scientific applications. Major Han Sukmin represented the military possibilities. Captain No Sung-hoon would pilot their specially modified ship. Dr. Bai Ji-young was there to monitor the psychological effects. And Engineer Kim Sora would operate the artifact itself. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored beings, Ambassador Kang began. Today we will show you abilities that humanity has recently discovered. We hope this demonstration will help everyone understand that these powers can benefit all species. A tall alien with silver skin and 4 arms stood up. This was Representative Vex of the Hegemony Alliance. We appreciate Earth's willingness to share this information. However, many species are concerned about the implications of reality warping abilities in the hands of any single race. We understand your concerns, said Ambassador Kang. That is why we are here, to show you that humans intend to use these abilities responsibly. Dr. Park stepped forward to a clear area in the center of the hall. In front of him sat a collection of broken machinery, damaged metal, and inert materials. The alien observers watched carefully as he closed his eyes and concentrated. Slowly, the broken pieces began to move. They rose into the air and started fitting themselves together. Metal flowed like water, reforming into perfect shapes. Complex electronic components rebuilt themselves from scattered parts. Within minutes, Dr. Park had assembled a functioning device that could generate clean energy from ambient space radiation. The alien observers murmured among themselves. The Altarian representative leaned forward with obvious interest. How much energy can such a device produce? Enough to power a small city, Dr. Park replied. And it uses no fuel. It simply converts background radiation into usable power. Next, Major Han Seokmin demonstrated defensive applications. He stood before a series of targets while alien weapons fired harmless energy beams at him. As each beam approached, Han concentrated and caused it to curve away harmlessly. He created shields from the metal flooring and deflected projectiles that should have been impossible to stop. These abilities work for defense, Han explained. We can protect ourselves and others without causing harm to attackers. Captain No showed them recordings of his modified ship. The vessel could phase partially out of normal space, making it nearly impossible to hit with conventional weapons. It could also travel faster than normal by manipulating the space around it. Space travel could be revolutionized, Captain No said. Ships could cross the galaxy in weeks instead of years. Dr. Bay presented psychological data showing that humans who used these abilities became more peaceful and cooperative, not more aggressive. The power seems to encourage harmony rather than conflict, she explained. Finally, Kim Sora brought out a small piece of the original artifact. As she held it, the crystal began to glow. Energy patterns flowed through the air, creating beautiful displays of light and color. More importantly, the artifact began to resonate with similar objects that some of the alien species had brought with them. For the first time in galactic history, Kim said, these ancient artifacts are responding. We could unlock technologies that have been dormant for millions of years. The demonstration was going perfectly. The alien representative seemed impressed and interested rather than fearful. Ambassador Kang began to hope that this would lead to peaceful cooperation. Then everything went wrong. A group of hegemony guards suddenly activated energy weapons and pointed them at the human demonstration team. At the same time, representatives from 3 other military species stood up and revealed that they were armed as well. By order of the Galactic Security Council, announced Representative Vex, these humans and their artifact are now under protective custody. This power is too dangerous to remain uncontrolled. This is supposed to be a neutral station, protested Ambassador Kang. The situation has changed, said a reptilian alien from the Dominion Empire. Any species capable of warping reality could threaten the stability of the entire galaxy. We must study these abilities under controlled conditions. Major Han stepped in front of the other humans. We came here peacefully. We shared our knowledge freely. And this is how you respond? You have no choice, said Vex. Surrender now and you will be treated well. Resist and we will use whatever force is necessary. For a moment, the hall was completely silent. Then Major Han smiled. You want to see what humans can do when threatened? He asked. Very well. Han raised his hand and suddenly the gravity in the room began to change. The armed aliens found themselves floating helplessly in the air, unable to aim their weapons. Their equipment became too heavy to hold as Han increased its mass selectively. Kim Sora concentrated on the energy weapons themselves. One by one, they simply stopped working as she changed their internal components at the molecular level. Captain No activated his ship's systems remotely, causing it to phase into the station itself. The vessel appeared inside the conference hall, its hull passing through the station's walls like they were made of air. Dr. Park focused on the station's communication systems, sending out emergency signals to every ship in the area. Within seconds, the entire galaxy would know that aliens had tried to capture humans during a peaceful demonstration. Dr. Bay projected calming thoughts toward the panicking aliens, preventing them from calling for reinforcements or escalating the situation further. "We did not want this," said Major Han as he gently lowered the floating aliens back to the floor. "But we will not be taken prisoner by species who invited us here under false pretenses." The human team boarded Captain No's ship and prepared to leave. As they did, Kim held up the artifact piece so everyone could see it. "You want to know why only humans can use these?" she asked. "It is because we do not seek power for its own sake. We use it to protect, to heal, and to build. That is why the artifacts respond to us and not to you." The ship phased back out of the station and disappeared into space, leaving behind a group of very confused and worried alien representatives. Within hours, news of the incident spread across the galaxy. Humans had not only demonstrated incredible abilities, but had used them to escape from a trap without seriously harming anyone. More importantly, they had done it in front of representatives from dozens of species. The message was clear. Humans could not be captured or controlled. They had power beyond anything previously seen, and they were willing to use it to defend themselves. Back on Earth, President Yoon received the reports with mixed feelings. The demonstration had shown the galaxy what humans could do, but it had also revealed that some species were willing to use force to control these new abilities. "From now on," she announced to her advisors, "we assume that we are at war, not because we want to be, but because others have made that choice for us." The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had announced itself as a power that could not be ignored or controlled. The only question now was whether the other species would accept this new reality or try to destroy it. 6 months after the incident at Harmony Point, the galaxy had divided into two camps. Some species sought friendship with humanity, hoping to benefit from their reality-warping abilities. Others viewed humans as a threat that needed to be eliminated before they became too powerful. General Huang Minjie stood in Earth's orbital command center and studied the tactical displays. Red markers showed hostile fleets gathering at the edge of human space. Green markers indicated friendly vessels from allied species. Yellow markers represented the growing number of ships that remained neutral, waiting to see which side would win. "The Hegemony Alliance has assembled the largest military force in galactic history," reported Commander Park Woo-jin, leader of Earth's new reality warper special forces. 200,000 ships from 24 different species. "They are calling it Operation Final Peace." "Final Peace," General Huang repeated bitterly. "They plan to wipe out every human in the galaxy and call it peace." Dr. Shin Yoonji, Earth's leading researcher on reality warping abilities, looked up from her workstation. "We have made significant progress in understanding our capabilities, but we still do not know their limits. Using these powers drains our energy quickly. Even our strongest reality warpers can only maintain their abilities for short periods." "How short?" asked General Huang. "Major Han can manipulate gravity for perhaps 30 minutes before exhaustion. Kim Sora can reshape matter for maybe an hour. Captain No can phase his ship for 2 hours maximum. Against hundreds of thousands of enemy vessels, that may not be enough." The situation looked hopeless by any conventional measure. Earth had fewer than 10,000 ships and only about 200 humans who had developed reality warping abilities. The hegemony force outnumbered them by more than 20 to 1, but humanity had received unexpected help. The Altarian Republic had suffered a crisis that only humans could solve. 3 weeks earlier, Dr. Shin Yoonji and a team of reality warpers had traveled to Altarian space. The Altarian sun was dying, and their entire civilization faced extinction. Their technology could not restart a dying star. No known science could prevent their solar system from freezing. But humans had done the impossible. Working together, 5 human reality warpers had reached into the heart of the Altarian star and restarted nuclear fusion. They manipulated matter and energy at the subatomic level, literally bringing a dead sun back to life. The process had taken 3 days and left all 5 humans unconscious for a week afterward. The news had shocked the galaxy. Humans were not just using reality warping for small tasks or self-defense. They were performing acts of cosmic engineering that bordered on the divine. The Altarians are completely loyal to us now, reported specialist Oh Mik-young, a reality warper who specialized in interfacing with alien technology. They have offered their entire fleet to help defend Earth, 50,000 ships, with the most advanced technology in the galaxy. That still leaves us outnumbered 4-1, said General Huang. But we have other advantages, said Commander Park. Intelligence reports show that the Hegemony Alliance is not as unified as they claim. Many species joined only because they were afraid of being left out. If we can show strength in the first battle, some of them might withdraw. Dr. Shin Yunji had been working on something even more ambitious than restarting stars. General, I believe we have discovered a way to link multiple human consciousness through the artifacts. If enough reality warpers work together, we might be able to create effects on a much larger scale. What kind of effects? Theoretically, we could influence space across entire star systems, change the laws of physics in specific regions, make it impossible for enemy weapons to function in areas we control. General Huang studied the tactical display again. The hegemony fleet was still gathering, but intelligence suggested they would attack within weeks. How many humans would this linking process require? All of them. Every reality warper on Earth and in our colonies. Nearly 300 people working in perfect coordination. And the risks? Dr. Shin looked uncomfortable. Unknown. The process might burn out human neural pathways permanently. We could lose our abilities forever. Or worse, the feedback could kill everyone involved. Commander Park stepped forward. General, my special forces have been discussing this. We are willing to take the risk. If we lose this war, humanity ends anyway. If this plan gives us a chance to survive, we should try it. General Huang was quiet for a long moment. Outside the command center windows, he could see Earth turning slowly in space. Billions of people lived on that planet, unaware that their species might cease to exist within weeks. Begin preparations for the linking process, he decided. But keep working on conventional defenses, too. I want every option available. Meanwhile, the hegemony fleet continued to grow. Representative Vex stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought Absolute Victory and reviewed the final attack plans. The fleet included planet-killer weapons, reality disruption devices, and enough firepower to sterilize every world in human space. The humans must not be allowed to escape, he told his officers. This species has proven that they cannot be controlled or contained. Therefore, they must be eliminated completely. What about the artifacts? Asked his tactical officer. If we destroy all humans, we will never be able to use their technology. Better that no one has this power than to risk it falling into the wrong hands again, Vex replied. The galaxy was stable before humans discovered these abilities. It will be stable again after they are gone. Back on Earth, the reality warpers were gathering. Humans from across the solar system came home to participate in the desperate plan. Scientists, soldiers, engineers, and ordinary citizens who had discovered they could touch the fundamental forces of reality. Kim Sora worked with Dr. Shin to prepare the linking process. We will need to synchronize our consciousness perfectly, she explained to the assembled group. Think of it as creating a single mind with 300 parts. What will it feel like? Asked one of the newer reality warpers. I do not know, Kim admitted. No one has ever tried anything like this before. Major Han stood before the group. Everyone understands the risks. We might not survive this process. But if we do nothing, humanity certainly will not survive the hegemony attack. We are not just fighting for ourselves, added Captain No. We are fighting for the right of any species to evolve and grow. The hegemony wants to freeze the galaxy in its current state forever. They want to prevent any new developments that might challenge their power. Dr. Bay had been studying the psychological effects of the linking process. There is something else we should consider. When we join our consciousness together, we will become something new, Not just individual humans, but a collective intelligence with reality-warping abilities. We might change in ways we cannot predict. Change how? Asked General Huang. We might become more than human, or we might lose what makes us human in the first place. The room was quiet as everyone considered this possibility. They were about to gamble not just their lives, but their humanity itself. The hegemony fleet will arrive in 5 days, reported Specialist O. Long range. Sensors show they are moving into final attack positions. General Huang looked around the room at the faces of Earth's reality warpers. Young and old, men and women, scientists and soldiers, all of them willing to risk everything for the survival of their species. Then we have 5 days to prepare for the most important battle in human history, he said. Let's make sure we are ready. Outside Earth's atmosphere, the artifacts that had started everything pulsed with growing energy. They seemed to sense what was coming. A test that would determine whether humanity deserved the power they had discovered, or whether the galaxy would return to its previous state of careful, controlled stagnation. The next few days would decide the fate of not just humanity, but the future of evolution itself in the Milky Way galaxy. The hegemony fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system, like a dark storm covering the stars. 200,000 ships spread across space in formation patterns that had been perfected over millions of years of warfare. Planet-killer weapons charged their systems. Reality disruption devices prepared to tear holes in space itself. Representative Vec stood on his command ship and felt satisfaction. Today we remove a threat to galactic stability. Begin the attack. But as the massive fleet moved toward Earth, they encountered something impossible. Director Lee Sang-yuk coordinated the global defense network from Earth's surface. Around the planet, 300 reality warpers sat in meditation chambers, their minds linked through the artifacts. The connection had taken 12 hours to establish, and the results were beyond anything they had imagined. Linking process is complete, reported Dr. Shin Yunji. All consciousness streams are synchronized. We are ready. Initiate the field, ordered General Huang. What happened next had never been attempted in the history of the galaxy. 300 human minds, connected through ancient artifacts and focused on a single purpose, reached out and began to change reality itself on a cosmic scale. The space around Earth's solar system suddenly became hostile to the hegemony fleet. Their weapon systems failed as the fundamental forces that powered them were redirected. Their navigation computers could not function because the laws of physics were different here than in normal space. Ships that tried to fire planet-killer weapons found that their energy simply disappeared, converted into harmless light and heat. Vessels that attempted to use faster-than-light drives discovered that space would not bend to accommodate them. What is happening? Demanded Vex as his tactical displays went dark. Unknown, sir. Our weapons are non-functional. Engineering reports that the laws of physics appear to have changed. That is impossible. Captain Young Haiwan, leading the early warning fleet, watched from her command ship as the hegemony forces struggled with their useless equipment. The field is working perfectly. Enemy ships are completely helpless. But the humans were not content to simply defend themselves. Led by the collective consciousness of their linked reality warpers, they began to transform the attacking fleet itself. Researcher Ko Dongmin had spent months studying how to interface multiple consciousness through the artifacts. Now working as part of the collective mind, he helped guide the transformation process. We are not just changing their ships. We are changing their fundamental nature. Weapons designed to destroy planets became tools for terraforming dead worlds. Warships transformed into exploration vessels equipped with advanced scientific equipment. Most remarkably, the aggressive neural patterns of the hegemony soldiers began to change as the reality field influenced their brain. Chemistry. This is impossible, whispered a hegemony tactical officer, as he found himself unable to think violent thoughts. What are they doing to us? The soldiers tried to continue the attack but discovered they could no longer conceive of harming other beings. Their weapons had become gardening tools. Their battle plans had transformed into peaceful exploration missions. Their orders to destroy humanity now seemed like suggestions to help develop new technologies. Elder Yu Inseo, an elderly philosopher who had become crucial to understanding human potential, watched the transformation from Earth's surface. We are not conquering them, he explained to the other observers. We are showing them a better way to exist. Within hours, the largest military force in galactic history had surrendered. Not because they were defeated, but because they could no longer remember why they had wanted to fight in the first place. Representative Vex stood on his transformed ship and felt confused. His orders had been to destroy humanity, but that seemed like a terrible idea now. Why would anyone want to harm such a creative and helpful species? Send a message to Earth, he instructed his communications officer. Tell them we apologize for the misunderstanding. Ask if there is anything we can do to help them. Across the galaxy, other civilizations watched in amazement and terror. Humanity had not just won a battle. They had demonstrated the ability to change the fundamental nature of conflict itself. President Yoon addressed the galaxy from Earth's capital. We did not seek this power to dominate others. We discovered it to protect ourselves and to help those in need. From this day forward, any species that approaches humanity with peaceful intentions will find friends and allies. Any species that threatens us or our friends will discover that war itself becomes impossible in our presence. The Galactic Confederation restructured within weeks. The old power structures, based on military strength and economic dominance, became meaningless when humanity could literally rewrite the rules of conflict. Instead of conquest, humans focused on healing. They restored dead worlds to life. They solved energy crises that had plagued civilizations for millennia. They created new forms of communication that allowed species to understand each other on levels deeper than language. Dr. Shin Yoonji led teams of reality warpers to the center of the galaxy, where they began studying the ancient civilization that had created the artifacts. We are learning that consciousness itself might be a fundamental force of nature, she reported. Like gravity or electromagnetism, but operating on levels we never understood before. The artifacts, it turned out, were tools left behind by a species that had transcended physical existence millions of years ago. They had been waiting for a civilization that could use consciousness and emotion as technological interfaces only humans developed. The right combination of logic and feeling, explained Kim Sora during a broadcast to the entire galaxy. Other species became either too logical or too emotional. Humans kept both aspects of intelligence active simultaneously. Major Han, now leading expeditions beyond the galaxy itself, sent back reports of other clusters of stars where similar artifacts waited to be activated. There is an entire universe out there, waiting for consciousness to unlock its secrets. Commander Park established the first Reality Warper Academy, where humans taught other species how to develop similar abilities. It requires changing how you think about the relationship between mind and matter, he explained to his alien students. You must believe that consciousness and reality are connected before you can make that connection real. The transformation of galactic civilization accelerated. Wars became impossible when reality warpers could simply change the combatant's ability to conceive of violence. Resource shortages ended when matter itself could be reshaped to meet any need. Communication barriers dissolved when thoughts could be shared directly between minds. Some species struggled with these changes. They had built their entire cultures around scarcity, competition, and conflict, but even they gradually adapted as they discovered the benefits of cooperation and abundance. Captain No led the first expedition beyond the Milky Way galaxy. His ship, enhanced with reality warping technology, could travel between galaxies in weeks rather than millions of years. There are signs of other civilizations out there, he reported. Some friendly, some hostile, and some so alien that we cannot yet understand them. But humanity was no longer the weak species that had joined the Galactic Confederation a century earlier. They had become gardeners of reality itself, using their unique abilities to nurture life and consciousness throughout the universe. Dr. Bay studied the long-term effects of reality warping on human psychology. We are becoming something new, she reported, not losing our humanity but expanding it. We still feel love, fear, hope, and wonder, but now we can share those feelings directly with other beings and use them to reshape the world around us. The galaxy that had once been divided by species barriers became unified by shared consciousness. Different forms of life remained distinct and valuable, but they could now understand and communicate with each other in ways that had never been possible. Humanity had discovered more than just reality warping power. They had found the key to evolution itself. Not just biological evolution, but the evolution of consciousness, society, and the very nature of existence. As Elder Yu watched the stars from Earth's surface, he smiled. The ancient artifacts had awakened something in humanity, that would ripple outward through the universe for millions of years. They had become the species that would help consciousness itself grow and develop in ways that no one could yet imagine. The galaxy would never be the same. But then again, growth and change were what consciousness was meant to do. Humanity had simply learned to guide that process with wisdom, compassion, and the power to reshape reality itself. The future stretched ahead, infinite with possibility,